one of my session, a mother of a teenager reported that her teenage daughter endorsed thoughts of hurting herself and self-cutting to one of the mother's friend. So this was Zoom session with mom. So mom was first very upset and mostly at her that why she was unable to build a connection with the daughter, that she had to disclose this information to the mom's friend, not to the mom. And the second question mom was asking, how can she make sure that her daughter is safe without disclosing where she got that information that daughter is having a suicidal ideation? Because mom said that, the mom's friend likely will be the only person that her daughter usually feel comfortable sharing these thoughts, and she did not want to sabotage this relationship. So while exploring with the mom about circumstances that leading up to it, so mom was mentioning that earlier that day she had an argument with daughter regarding doing some chores. Daughter was not doing it, and then mom got into argument and she started yelling, screaming, and it went really bad. And then daughter just went into her room and then closed the door and then stayed in the room until she cleaned everything and did not talk to the mom. And next day she went to the mom's friend and endorsed that she's having thoughts of hurting herself, and she wanted to superficially cut her wrist because the pain inside is too much to handle. And mom also started crying because mom mentioned that one of mom's sister was also struggling with depression and she used to cut. And mom remember growing up, she have noticed that her sister and her dad, they were having a lot of argument. Mom mentioned that her dad was very dismissive. He was a loving and a caring dad, but many times, very strict. And anytime if daughter does anything that he doesn't approve academically, socially, he used to get mad, get upset, say a lot of nasty things. And whenever those arguments went heated up, she saw her sister engaging in depression and self-cutting behavior to the point that requires inpatient admission. So and most of the argument mom mentioned that with her sister and her own mom and dad were related to not doing chores or not taking care of herself or those kind of activities. So when I asked mom, how are you feeling when you were seeing these things happening with your sister and with your dad? So mom was mentioning, she wanted to stop her dad, saying those kind of nasty comments, but she was intimidated, she was scared to make those comments. And, she always felt that she was the elder sister, she could have done and saved her sister, who still, ongoing struggle with so many depression, anxiety, academically, her personal and professional life, because all of those traumatic experience that happened to her during childhood. So I asked mom, so it seemed like you have a lot of anger, you have a lot of resentment, towards her dad and also towards you because you were not able to help your sister. Do you think that anger and resentment might be contributing for you to sometime overreacting, when your daughter doesn't do chores, overreacting in a way that with your sister, you did not have power to control, but now you are a mom, you are a successful, business woman, you have a lot of power and you can make a lot of changes. And so now all that anger, all that frustration that you were unable to help or do growing up, you want to do to help your daughter. And mom stopped for a second and she said that resonated to me, that sometimes even a small thing overreact to me and I get worried about my daughter, that she may not end up just like her own sister, and she did not want her to engage in self-cutting behavior. And mom mentioned that it reminded that It reminded mom of that feeling of helplessness and hopelessness and not good and powerlessness, this when she was unable to help her sister during that time. And that's why, she has been feeling more sad, more down. And it reminded me the same powerlessness feeling that this time mom mentioned that she never thought why it felt more this time, because mom mentioned that it may be that despite now I'm in power, I can make some change, but I'm unable to make that change with my daughter, and that is really affecting my self-esteem, and I'm really mad at myself, and that also come in terms of being mad at my daughter, and it made me overthink, over worried. And then with the discussion, mom, recognized and realized, so whenever her daughter went, whenever she doesn't do her chores or do things that, that are, that she did not approve, sometimes her reaction is over because of, I said, mom, the traumatic experience that you have went through. So, you overreact and you get more upset. You want to fix it. You want to control it because you feel you have power. And when you are unable to do it, it even made you more frustrated. And then the second question mom asked, so how can I help my daughter, when she does this kind of, anger, irritability, and, this kind of behavior? So I asked mom, yes, in those moments, I'm pretty sure that, it may be your daughter's fault, or it may be a very small thing that your daughter is overreacting. But in that situation, instead of correcting her, instead of telling her, why you are so overreacting on small thing, instead of telling her, what is wrong and try to fix it, I said, just remind yourself, the more I stay calm, the better I can help. And then validate your daughter's feeling. It must be really upsetting for you to clean your room. It must be really hard to turn off, the TV. It must be really frustrating to not able to finish your homework. What can I do? And mom mentioned, that her daughter like hug. And I said, in that moment when she's struggling, sometimes mom said, sometimes she doesn't want to listen to anything. I said, then in that moment, if you see that your daughter doesn't want to get any help, you just go and hug her and just gently tap her and just gently say, just validate that you have been struggling. I can see the struggle. I know you have been putting so much efforts. And the third question mom asked, how can she make sure that her daughter is safe without, affecting the relationship with the mother's friend? And I said, mom, I suggested, mom, you can go to your daughter and start, the first asking her how is she doing, and then apologizing, the other days that you overreacted, and maybe share, the reason why you might have overreacted, because all of that feeling of powerlessness, frustration when you were growing up, and how it may made you feel more worried about, your daughter, and that's why she overreacted. She should not have said those things or react in that way, and just apologize. And ask your daughter, what does she think, mom could have done in that situation, and moving forward, what are some of the activities that mom can do in those situations that could be helpful. And then I asked her, just ask her, sometime I have noticed that you have been feeling sad, down lately. I have been noticing more and more. Are you feeling okay? And just tell her, if any time you are feeling sad, you are feeling down, or you have any negative thought, she can come to you, and you tell her, that I'm learning to be more listen to you, more understand you, and more connect to you, rather than judging you or trying to fix or control the situation. So follow-up meeting, after 1 week, mom mentioned, that she was able to connect with her daughter. Her daughter was able to share, that she has been struggling, and she felt that no one ever, listened to her at home, and that must be really frustrating. And, and the daughter mentioned, mom said that even daughter gave mom a hug back because she saw mother's pain and where it is coming from. And it seemed like, that mom said that it seemed like this is the first time that I'm able to connect with my daughter. I'm able to heal. And I told mom, when you give her a hug when she's struggling, it's not only healing for her, but it's also healing for mom as well, with all that trauma that she has seen, at that time. and she, may wanted her dad to hug her sister rather than, yelling at it. So I said, this act of kindness, act of empathy, act of understanding can be healing for everyone. Thank you.